Friday, November 7th, market analysis, Stan Ehrlich. Start out with indexes, go to futures, and I have a few stocks that I'm following, and hopefully some important commentary, general commentary, which is what I'm about to talk about. This market topped out uh, around the October 29th, the end of October, and has come down fairly significantly for the last several days, about a week and a half. This week in particular, of course. Today's low is well into a general area of support where the market was topping out, I can say late September, October, had a very sharp big break October 10th. The low on October 10th on all of the indexes is extremely important, and we haven't gotten there, but that's the lowest level of the support zone below the October 10th low. I expect to see a much bigger break lasting maybe a few months, but we haven't broken that low yet on a closing basis. Today, we got relatively close to oversold, a very sharp break, and in generally speaking, areas of support and a bounce back that was pretty darn good. It actually closed after being down around 8, 9 points on the SPY, closed about unchanged to a little higher, a half a point higher to a point higher, something like that. So that's a pretty good bounce back. I think we might get some upside follow through Monday, but I am not expecting to see much of a rally. I do not think we're going to go sideways to higher. I expect to see lower lows than today's lows next week, but it might be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And we're coming down to those October 10th lows in a general sense across the board. So this is the MES, came back to where it approximately opened, and that was a hair higher overnight and closed there. And here is the 5-minute chart. Pretty good rebound, closing on strength on the close on Friday. Now, we also closed a little higher than where it opened on the S&P. The spider, which gapped a little lower on the opening, went down general area support where it could have bounced any old time, and it decided to today, started to, and it might bounce a little more. But again, I think we'll see at some time next week lower lows than today. And here is the 5-minute chart. Gap down, hit a bottom, pop back pretty good. Not great, not super impressive, but pretty good. QQQ, same thing. But we still have a tiny gap to close between today's highs and yesterday's lows, plus the fact that we have a gap to close up here at 626.90-ish, which is not a small rally from where we are. It's a medium rally, and I can't rule out that that gap may still get closed. Now, all of the gaps on the upside a week or two ago were closed on the way down. That's done. Told you they would get closed, likely to anyway. They did, a little quicker than I thought. And now it's time for a bounce. We're in a support area. Not oversold, but fairly low. Not conditions perfect for bounce, but it won't do any harm to my bearish story at this point. And Q also closed a little lower than where it opened last night, but bounced pretty good. No gaps in a generalized area of support. The best support is still a bit lower, and then other support layer areas even lower than that. But once you get under the October 10th lows, you're breaking support zones, and there'll be another bit of a free fall, in my opinion. And here's the 5-minute chart and an MNQ. Now, the YM closed a hair higher, no major reversal, not oversold, just bounced off at the beginning of a support zone that I've got marked on the chart and talked to you about this level, several days ago. And here's the 5-minute chart. Okay. We also came down in the Russell extremely close to the October 10th low, but that is a support level, bounced off of it, closed on the stronger side. No reversal per se, significant one. Deserves a bit of a bounce. Could be back up to the old trend line, bull trend line, or the bottom of an up channel. Maybe, although that would be the most I would expect. And that's going to be up to 25, 20, 30. So a little less than that would be just fine with me. And here's the 5-minute chart. And lastly, we got the bonds. Well, we're through with the indexes. Here's the bonds. Slightly lower close. Still looking for a move down to test a little bit under 116. And then maybe even down to 1305-ish. Wouldn't surprise me. Notes, same basic story. Previous high on Wednesday stopped today's high, came back down, closed just about unchanged approximately, down a tick maybe. Got nothing bullish to say really. Possibly it'll rally up a little bit more, but I'm looking for new lows, lower lows than yesterday and the day before, Wednesday and Thursday, next week. That will also be breaking a major bull trend line. So notes could slip off. The downside objective on this double top formation would be approximately 110.5-ish. The crude sideways, still closing below the resistance line that used to hold prices up. It was support. Now we've closed a couple of 3 days below it. Now it's resistance. It is stopping close by close. The net close of the day, expect to see lower lows. Looking for a test of 56 next. Trying to get through resistance on natural gas. Not quite doing the job. Tried again today. And for the last 4 to 5 days, all week, basically, it's been in this resistance zone. If we start closing below the bottom of that area, which is below 4.28, then I would expect it to come all the way down to this support area. So far, you do have higher closes over time, but the fact that it's close to being overbought and resistance does bother me. I'm neutral to bullish, basically, on natural gas. Now, that's a little bit of a switch from what I've been talking about overall. And mostly it's because we, did I say, I'm sorry, cancel that. I wasn't there. It didn't help anybody. Forget it. So resistance is stopping it. We're close to overbought. And I am bearish because of that big complex head and shoulder top that broke out to the downside back on June 25th. That downside objective is still significantly lower, all the way down to 2.2.5. Bearish, turning around very soon to the downside. Heating oil got above a little resistance level, came back up pretty close to the previous top that we had back on June 23rd. And I think it's topping out again. Closing below 2.42 would start to indicate I'm right. I need to have more weakness. Overbought conditions, sort of a reversal, not really. Looking for it to turn down. Gold. We still got within 1 day, the day before it topped out for the highest high, and the new high the next day was just a tiny bit higher than the bearish engulfing ER sell signal that I had on October 17th. Still looking for gold to break these recent lows in the last 2 weeks. I'm looking for a move all the way down to something like 35.92. Silver, we did get the high of the move exactly, looking for it to turn down to lower levels. I had a sell signal on October 1st. I don't think this support level is going to hold. Looking for a support line to be tested and a bull trend line to be tested at 1470 and probably broken next week. High grade copper. I don't have much hope for this. Looking for lower lows next week. Downside breakout. Should move all the way down to 4.4-ish. Soybeans made new highs for over a year. Closed for a couple of days, new high ground for over a year and a third-ish. sinking back down into some support yesterday, starting to move back up today. At any point, this could turn up. I'm bullish on grain overall, all the grains, beans, oil, corn, meal, wheat, you name it. So I think we're going to see a test of the highs and maybe new highs next week. We are finally closing above the previous bear trend line that I've been drawing for weeks and weeks, this one down here. But it refused to stay above the line and went back below it, got above it, went back below it, got above it. It wouldn't break a new line that I drew just a few days ago, this one, which is perfectly parallel to the previous line, which I've left on the screen. So we still have a downward slanting channel. I'm only raising the top of it a little bit. So today we have a higher close above the old line and bumping against the new line. Looking for that line to get broken, I need to close above today's high to start to break out to the upside, especially Thursday's high. Next, up day and meal, looking good. Don't have any problems. Bouncing off the little support area yesterday and today. Was overbought, got rid of that. Has now some elbow room to go up to new highs again, which is exactly what I'm thinking next week. Corn, pretty much the same story, although I don't like it closing a little bit below that neckline. Now, that's not good. That normally kills a head and shoulder bottom formation. I'm going to give it another day or so. If it drops off even more, then I've got some serious problem with that head and shoulder bottom. I did have a sell signal. I didn't expect it to work. It's starting to now. We never had a higher high than the high of my bearish engulfing ER sell signal, which was on October 30th. So things are a little iffy at the moment on the corn, but I'm still hanging on to bullish expectations, but not as strong opinion as I was yesterday. New low, breaking down a little on wheat, but wheat has also made new highs, hit resistance, got overbought, and could come down to close the gap I've been talking about for a long time at 515.50 and then turn up. Still long-term bullish on wheat, looking for buy signals on the break. Next, we've got Apple. Bit of a dip, no big deal. I need a close lower than last week's lows. Then it's going to close that gap. Then it might close this gap down here at 253.5. And I'm not ruling out a move down to 241 and even a smidgen lower, 234.5 to close that gap down there. I'm not super bearish. I'm just significantly corrective, looking for a downside swing and a bull trend. Apple. Next. Same kind of commentary on Tesla. I need to close below 411 to get a downside objective to major support. Around 355, 362, something like that, 365. And that's where I think we're headed. That would also close a couple of gaps. Next, lows dug into some support, but the close was back up above the support line I've drawn. No gap to close at the moment, except up here. I don't think that's going to get closed. We had a little tiny 4-day double top. That's already come and gone and worked. And it did yesterday close another gap, and we are getting close to oversold. I think we got a little bit of bounce here, but I think we're going to get lower still, maybe down to 164.75. And AMD tested support, bounced. I think we don't have a gap. Yesterday's low was 235.74. Today's high is 235.87. No gap. Today's high is a little higher than yesterday's low. No gap. So the old gap on the way up was closed yesterday on the way down. We bounced off of support. We're not oversold, looking for lower levels. You guys have a great weekend and profitable trading to you.